You weren't born with a silver spoon. Good. That means you've got a head start on building real character. The truth is, people who start with nothing tend to appreciate everything. They're forced to learn faster, hustle harder, and think smarter. When you come from the bottom, you don't carry a safety net. You carry fire. Too many people use humble beginnings as an excuse. I didn't have rich parents. No one taught me about money. I had a hard childhood. You think you're the only one. You think successful people were born lucky. Wake up. Most of the people you admire today started broke. No connections, no fancy degrees, no trust funds. What they did have was the decision to stop blaming and start building. Some people were stacking cash by 16. Others were stacking shelves in a store. Some were flipping NFT. Others were flipping burgers. It doesn't matter how you start. What matters is what you're doing with what you have right now. Maybe you're in a dead-end job earning minimum wage. That's not a life sentence. That's a launch pad. But only if you stop treating it like a prison, because even the smallest job can teach you how to deal with people, handle money, manage time, and build discipline if you're paying attention. It's not about where you are, it's about where you're headed, and you don't get there by sulking. You get there by learning, adapting, and moving. Here's the deal, your background doesn't define your ceiling. It defines your foundation. A rough start isn't a curse, it's a competitive advantage. When you've got nothing to lose, you've got everything to gain. You learn to make things work. You learn to survive. You learn to stretch a dollar. And all of that builds resilience, something money can't buy and privilege can't teach. Let's say you're like most people. You didn't grow up with wealth. Maybe your parents didn't teach you about investing or how to start a business. Maybe you saw more bills than paychecks. That's fine, because information is no longer locked away in ivory towers. You've got YouTube, you've got books, you've got free courses online that can teach you more than any overpriced college ever could. But here's the twist. Most people won't use those resources. They'll keep complaining instead. They'll say, it's too late for me, or I don't have time, or it's too hard. That's not reality. That's laziness wrapped in self-pity. Because if you can binge Netflix, you can binge learning. If you can scroll for hours, you can study for 30 minutes. And if you've got a phone in your pocket, you've got access to everything you need to build something better. The key difference between someone who makes it and someone who doesn't isn't luck. It's mindset. The broke guy who becomes a millionaire starts thinking like one before he has the money. He stops wasting his paycheck on liabilities and starts investing in assets. He stops showing off and starts stacking. He doesn't care about looking rich. He cares about being free. And freedom doesn't start with a fancy car or a big house. It starts with choices. The freedom to say no to toxic work. The freedom to walk away from debt. The freedom to take a risk because your basics are covered. But you only earn that freedom by grinding, saving, learning, and playing the long game. There are no shortcuts. There's no genie, no secret formula. You've got to put the hours in, not for a week, not for a month, for years. You've got to outlearn, outwork, and outlast the competition. You've got to be willing to eat dirt while everyone else is chasing comfort. Because that's what it takes when you start from the bottom. But here's the part most people miss. Starting with nothing means you get to build it all your way. You're not tied to anyone's legacy. You don't have a reputation to protect. You're free to try, to fail, to pivot, and to grow. That kind of freedom, that's priceless. And it's something most rich kids will never understand. So don't envy the ones born into money. Half of them lose it anyway. Envy the ones who were born into struggle and turned it into strength, the ones who took every no and turned it into fuel, the ones who weren't supposed to make it and did, because that's not just success. That's real power. If you want to build real wealth, lasting wealth, you've got to stop thinking like an employee and start thinking like an owner. That's where it begins. That's where it always begins. Entrepreneurship isn't just about starting a business. It's about taking ownership of your life, your money, and your future. Because as long as someone else controls your income, they control your time, your energy, and your options. Most people don't get rich from saving their paycheck. They don't escape the rat race by cutting out coffee or canceling Netflix. They build something, they solve problems, they sell value. That's the engine that drives wealth, ownership. You can't scale time, but you can scale a business. You can't multiply hours, but you can multiply income streams. Let's be real. A 9-5 job will keep you alive, but it won't set you free. You'll trade time for money year after year, only to find that raises don't keep up with inflation and promotions come too slow. You'll pay taxes before you even see your pay. You'll be stuck in traffic to go sit in a cubicle and build someone else's dream, not your own. Now, don't get it twisted. There's nothing wrong with having a job, at least temporarily. It teaches you structure. It teaches you discipline. But the real trap is staying there forever and thinking it's safe. Because the truth is, nothing's safe if you don't control it. Your job can disappear with one email. Your industry can collapse in one recession. The economy doesn't care about your loyalty. Entrepreneurship, on the other hand, puts the control back in your hands. It forces you to think, to adapt, to take responsibility. And when you solve a real problem for real people, they pay you for it. That's the game. Solve bigger problems, get paid more money, build systems, scale your time, build assets, build freedom. Starting a business doesn't mean you need millions in funding or a fancy office with glass walls and ping-pong tables. It means you see an opportunity and you act. It can be a side hustle at first. Flipping products, building websites, consulting, selling digital products, creating content, cleaning driveways, teaching skills, whatever works. You find a market, you serve that market, you repeat. Most people get caught up in the idea of needing to be original. That's a lie. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You just need to roll it better, smoother, faster, study what works, copy success. Improve on it, deliver value, and then, when you've learned enough, innovate, but first execute. People think entrepreneurship is risky. You know what's really risky? Being 60 and still needing permission to take a day off. Waking up every Monday and praying for Friday, living paycheck to paycheck, waiting for a raise that never comes. That's risky, that's scary, because when the income stops, the bills don't. Entrepreneurship gives you leverage. Leverage is how the rich get richer. They don't work harder, they work smarter. They build systems that make money while they sleep. They invest in teams, in tools, in automation. While others are trading time for money, they're building engines that keep running without them. That's what separates wealth builders from wage earners. And guess what? It's never been easier to start. You've got the internet, you've got social media, you've got platforms where you can sell, market, advertise, and reach people around the world with zero upfront cost. You don't need a gatekeeper's approval anymore. You don't need to beg a bank for money. You just need to start. Learn as you go. Make mistakes, course correct, keep moving. You'll fail. That's guaranteed. But failure in entrepreneurship isn't a dead-end, it's data. It's feedback. Every failed product teaches you what the market doesn't want. Every bad client teaches you how to set better boundaries. Every flop sharpens your strategy. You're not losing, you're learning. The real beauty of entrepreneurship is that it compounds. You put in work today that keeps paying you tomorrow. You build an audience, a brand, a reputation. You gain skills that never expire. And once you've built one thing successfully, it becomes easier to build the next. You get faster, sharper, bolder, wealth starts stacking, options start multiplying. You don't need to be the smartest in the room. You just need to be relentless, consistent, willing to keep swinging when others quit. Because entrepreneurship doesn't reward talent, it rewards execution. Show up daily, deliver value, build systems. Reinvest wisely, and protect your focus like it's your fortune. You want wealth? Stop waiting for someone to hand it to you. Start building something that outlives your time and outpaces your paycheck. That's where freedom starts. That's where wealth grows. That's how legacies are made. Some people graduate with honors, others graduate with scars, but don't let anyone fool you. Both are an education. You don't need a degree to become successful. You need experience, grit, common sense, and the ability to figure things out when the blueprint doesn't exist. Because the real world doesn't care about your paper qualifications. It cares about your results. For decades, we've been fed this lie that success starts with university. Get good grades, go to college, get a job, work hard, retire happy. That path worked once, when houses cost a year's salary, not your entire lifetime. Now, you can have a degree and still be broke. You can have student debt and no clue how to pay it off. You can be educated on paper and clueless in practice. Let's break it down. A degree might teach you theory, but experience teaches you reality. A textbook can explain marketing. Starting your own online store teaches you how people actually buy. A business class might describe customer service. Working a shop floor during the holidays teaches you how people really behave. That's the education that matters, the kind that happens in the trenches, not the lecture hall. You want to learn how to make money, start selling something. You want to learn discipline, wake up every morning and work on a business that doesn't pay you yet. You want to understand failure, launch a product that flops, learn from it, and try again. That's the classroom, that's the test, and those lessons, they stick. Because when your own money's on the line, you pay attention. Too many people hide behind the idea that they need more education before they can start. More courses, more certifications, another degree. It's not education they're after, it's permission. They're waiting for someone to tell them they're qualified to try. But the truth is, no one's going to tap you on the shoulder and say, "You're ready now." You're going to have to decide that for yourself and start anyway. Most of the skills that make people successful weren't taught in school. No one teaches you how to negotiate a deal, build confidence, handle rejection, or take criticism without crumbling. No one teaches you how to manage your emotions, stay focused, or think long-term when life gets tough. You learn that through doing, through failing, through getting up again when it would have been easier to quit. Some of the sharpest business minds out there never set foot in a university. They learned by building, breaking, and rebuilding. They learned by watching, testing, adapting, and repeating. They didn't sit around waiting to be taught. They taught themselves. They made the world their classroom and life their instructor. Here's what school doesn't prepare you for: rejection, risk, reinvention. It doesn't prepare you for clients who ghost you, suppliers who fail, or deals that fall through last minute. It doesn't prepare you for the doubt that creeps in when nothing's working, or the discipline it takes to keep going when there's no applause. That's what experience trains into you, the mental toughness that no diploma ever will. Now, does that mean education is useless? No, but you've got to redefine what education actually means. It's not just sitting in a classroom memorizing theories you'll never apply. Real education is learning a skill, using it, and earning from it. Real education is reading the right books, studying the right mentors, watching what works, and doing it yourself. It's podcasts during your commute. It's YouTube instead of Netflix. It's taking a course that teaches you how to build income, not just pass a test. The marketplace doesn't care about your GPA. It cares about whether you can deliver results. Can you solve problems? Can you make someone's life easier? Can you bring value to the table? Because that's what people pay for. That's what builds your income, your reputation, and your opportunities. There's also this myth that learning stops after school. It doesn't. If anything, that's when it actually begins, because now the grades are real, the consequences are real, every decision matters, every move teaches you something. The people who grow the fastest are the ones who never stop learning, not from textbooks, but from action. Look at the people who are really moving ahead in life. They're not the ones with the fanciest degrees. They're the ones with the most resourcefulness. They figure things out. They watch, they try, they fail, they adjust. They're not afraid to look stupid because they know looking stupid for a while is the price of eventually getting it right. Don't wait for permission to learn what you need to learn. Go out and get the skills. Learn how to sell. Learn how to manage money. Learn how to invest. Learn how to market, how to lead, how to build. Don't worry if it's messy. Don't worry if you screw up. Every time you do, you're leveling up faster than the person still sitting on the sidelines, waiting for a certificate to give them confidence they could have earned through action. The internet changed the game completely. It tore down the gatekeepers, leveled the playing field, and handed the tools of influence to anyone bold enough to pick them up. You don't need to be famous. You don't need to be born into wealth. You don't need permission. All you need is a phone, a message, and the courage to hit upload. That's the power of online influence. One video can change your life. One post can build your brand. One piece of content, seen by the right people, can open doors you never knew existed. But most people waste that opportunity. They use their phone to scroll instead of create. They consume more than they contribute. They watch other people live their dreams while talking themselves out of their own. It used to be that influence was reserved for celebrities, CEO, and politicians. Now it's the person on TikTok showing you how to budget, the guy on YouTube breaking down investing, the girl on Instagram turning her side hustle into a six-figure brand. These aren't one in a million stories anymore. They're daily examples of people who decided to stop watching and start doing. The tools are free, the reach is global, and the market is hungry. People want solutions, they want information, they want inspiration, education, entertainment. If you can provide any of those, even in a niche most people ignore, you've got influence. Not because you're trying to be famous, but because you're offering value. And value is what builds credibility, trust, and opportunity. Most people don't understand how fast this stuff compounds. They look at someone with 500,000 followers and say, must be nice. What they don't see is the years of consistency, the content that flopped, the hate comments, the learning curve, the doubt. They don't see the work. It's invisible. But once that momentum kicks in, it's like a snowball. Every piece of content builds on the last. Every follower is a potential customer, connection, or investor. Every video is a 24/7 salesperson working while you sleep. That's leverage, and leverage is what creates freedom. Because when your voice reaches thousands or millions, you're not just earning money, you're buying back your time, you're building something that works without you being physically present. You can monetize it through ads, courses, brand deals, coaching, affiliate links, or products. The revenue streams multiply because the attention multiplies, and here's what most people miss. You don't need millions of followers. You don't need to go viral every week. You need to build a loyal audience of the right people. 1,000 true fans can make you a living. 10,000 can make you wealthy. Influence isn't just about popularity, it's about connection. People trust you, they believe in your message, they follow your journey. That's power, and it's earned through authenticity and consistency. If you've got knowledge in your head and you're not sharing it online, you're leaving money, impact, and opportunity on the table. The internet rewards action. The people who win are the ones who document, not just the ones who dominate. You don't need to be an expert. You just need to be one step ahead of the person you're helping. Teach what you know. Share what you've learned. Show your process. That's more valuable than pretending to be perfect. Fear stops most people. Fear of judgment, fear of failure, fear of looking stupid. But the truth is, nobody's thinking about you as much as you think they are. And the ones who judge you for trying are usually the ones too scared to try themselves. Every successful creator you see once had 0 followers, 0 views, 0 likes. They started anyway, and that's what separates them from everyone else. They kept showing up. You've got to be willing to suck at first. Your first videos will be awkward. Your first designs might look terrible, your voice will shake, your editing will be rough, your lighting might be bad, but none of that matters if the value is real. People forgive production quality if the message is solid. They care more about how you can help them than how polished you look doing it. Online influence isn't about being viral, it's about being valuable. And the most valuable people are the ones who stay in the game long enough to earn trust. It's not a sprint. It's not about trends. It's about becoming the go-to person in your space. And that only happens if you show up when no one's watching, keep learning, and keep putting your voice into the world with purpose and consistency. Certainly. Here's a 700-word expansion of Keynote 5. The first $100 KP, the first $100, 000 is the hardest. Not just because it takes effort, but because it takes discipline. The kind of discipline most people avoid their whole lives. Everyone wants to be a millionaire. Everyone wants financial freedom. But hardly anyone wants to do what it actually takes to reach that first real milestone, $100,000 saved, earned, or invested. That number separates dreamers from doers. Why is the first $100K so important? Because it's the point where momentum starts to work in your favor. Before that, everything feels slow, your savings barely grow, your investments look like they're crawling. But once you hit that threshold, compound growth kicks in. Suddenly your money is doing the heavy lifting alongside you. But none of that happens if you can't discipline yourself enough to reach the initial level. Too many people get distracted chasing big wins, crypto pumps, get-rich-quick schemes, viral businesses, when what they really need to do is master the boring stuff. Live below your means, save consistently, learn how to make more, stack cash with intent. That's how the first $100K is built, not overnight, not in some magical deal, but brick by brick with patience and clarity. Here's what most people don't want to hear. Making your first $10K is exciting. Your first $50K feels promising, but your first $100K, that changes your mindset. You stop thinking like someone who's surviving and start thinking like someone who's building. That shift, it's worth more than the money itself, because after that, you never look at time or effort the same way again. To get to that level, you've got to cut out the noise. That means ignoring your broke friends who mock you for not blowing a paycheck every weekend. That means skipping unnecessary upgrades just to look successful. That means staying focused when social media keeps flashing shiny objects in your face. People who hit their first $100K don't do it by being lucky. They do it by being strategic. You need to treat your income like a weapon. Every dollar is either a soldier working for your freedom or a wasted bullet. Most people lose the battle because they fire blindly. They don't track spending. They don't set financial goals. They get paid and spend like the money will never run out. Then wonder why they're always broke, no matter how much they earn. It's not about how much you make. It's about how much you keep. Someone earning $3,000 a month but saving $1,000 is more disciplined than someone earning $10,000 and spending all of it. Building your first $100K forces you to respect the numbers. It teaches you to see through lifestyle inflation, to stop confusing looking rich with being rich, and to focus on growing your gap, what you earn versus what you spend. And when it comes to that gap, you've got two jobs: widen it and invest the difference. That might mean taking on a side hustle. That might mean learning a new skill that increases your income potential. That might mean sacrificing evenings and weekends to build something scalable. No one said it's easy, but that's exactly why most people never get there. The barrier is discipline, not opportunity. People love to talk about passive income, but let's get one thing straight. You don't earn passive income without first earning active income and deploying it smartly. Your first $100K isn't going to come from dividends or rental income if you haven't saved a dollar. It's going to come from work, relentless, focused work. Not glamorous, not viral, but consistent and intentional. Once you have that first $100K, everything changes. You walk into rooms differently. You make decisions from a place of strength, not scarcity. You can take calculated risks. You can say no to jobs you hate. You can start thinking long term. Because you're no longer scrambling for short-term survival, but that shift only happens after you've done the hard part, proving to yourself that you can build it from scratch. You'll hear people say money isn't everything, and that's true. But if you're always stressed about bills, you'll never have peace of mind. If you're constantly in debt, you'll never be in control. That first $100K isn't about greed, it's about freedom, it's about breathing room, it's about proving that you don't need to win the lottery to change your life. You just need a plan, discipline, and time. Every dollar you save early on is like a seed, and the earlier you plant, the more it grows. That's the beauty of compound interest. But compound interest means nothing if you're spending everything. That's why the first $100K takes grit. It's a test of whether you can delay gratification, stay focused, and avoid distractions long enough to build something real. Before you think about investing in stocks, real estate, crypto, or any other asset, you need to understand one thing: you are the asset. The best return you'll ever get won't come from a brokerage account or a rental property. It will come from what you put into yourself, your skills, your mindset, your habits, your knowledge. These are the foundations that determine whether your money works for you or gets wasted chasing trends you don't understand. People spend hours researching the next hot investment, but won't spend 10 minutes learning how to manage their time. They'll drop thousands on a phone or a car, but won't spend $50 on a book that could change the way they think. That's backwards. That's the mindset of someone trying to look successful instead of become successful. You want long-term results. Start by building long-term discipline, and that begins with investing in yourself. When you learn a skill, no one can take it away from you. When you improve your mindset, everything around you starts to change. When you become more valuable, you earn more. It's that simple. People get paid based on the problem they can solve. If you can't solve problems, you're replaceable. But when you build expertise, confidence, and real-world competence, you become an asset to every room you walk into. Here's the truth most people avoid. If you're broke, overwhelmed, or stuck, it's probably not your bank account that needs fixing. It's your skill set. It's your focus. It's your discipline. You don't need to win the lottery to change your life. You need to learn how to create value, manage money, communicate well, sell, negotiate, and stay consistent when no one's clapping for you. All of those things are learned, and they're all part of investing in yourself. Most people want a six-figure income but operate on minimum effort habits. They want to be successful but won't sacrifice weekends, distractions, or the comfort of routine. You can't level up with the same habits that got you stuck in the first place. You've got to upgrade your inputs, what you read, who you listen to, what you focus on, how you spend your time. If your inputs are average, your results will be too. Start with your mind. That's where everything begins. Read books that challenge you. Listen to people who have results. Respect, not just opinions you agree with. Cut out content that wastes your energy and fills your head with nonsense. Your brain is not a dumping ground, it's a muscle. Train it, sharpen it, fill it with ideas that push you forward, not distractions that hold you back. Then move to your habits. You wake up with purpose or just react to the day? Do you plan your time or waste hours scrolling? Are you disciplined with your money or constantly broke even when you get paid? Habits are a reflection of identity. Change your habits and you change how you see yourself. Change how you see yourself and you change what you tolerate. Next, invest in your health. If your body's breaking down, your business will too. You don't need to be an athlete, but you do need to move. You need to fuel your body like it matters, because it does. Energy is a competitive advantage. If you're always tired, distracted, or sluggish, you're running life with the brakes on. A sharp mind lives in a strong body. Take care of it. Then build your income-producing skills. Learn how to sell. Learn how to communicate clearly. Learn how to lead, negotiate, and think strategically. The market rewards people who solve problems. The more valuable your skill set, the more income potential you unlock. You don't need to be a genius. You just need to be better than average at something people are willing to pay for. And don't just learn, apply. Action is the real test of knowledge. Don't be the person who watches hundreds of hours of content but never builds anything. Don't become a walking encyclopedia who never executes. Learn, then do. Make mistakes, adjust, repeat. That's how you grow. Not by collecting information, but by turning it into transformation. You've got to start seeing yourself as your greatest asset. Not your job, not your car, not your followers. Your discipline, your consistency, your mindset, your adaptability. When you level that up, everything else follows. The business grows, the relationships improve, the money flows, because you've built the person capable of sustaining it. Don't wait until things fall apart to realize this. Don't wait until you're deep in debt or stuck in a job you hate to finally take your growth seriously. Make the decision early, own it, take responsibility, prioritize learning over partying, prioritize growth over gossip. Prioritize long-term gain over short-term gratification. The best thing about investing in yourself is that no one can take it away. Markets crash, jobs disappear, trends fade, but what's inside your mind, what's built through consistent work, what's sharpened by real effort, that stays with you forever.